Hello, hello, everyone. This is a live stream I just wanted to do just because I think it's funny. I wanted to watch the video and we can all react to it and get a laugh. Let's see, maybe not a laugh. Maybe you have a dad bod and you want to do something to fix it. I have some tips in here for you. Watch till the end.
Dad bods. What have you learned about dad bods?
So every once in a while on social media, people will post a picture or, basically one of those body fat comparison pictures that you often see if you follow bodybuilding and all of that, where it shows like, here's someone with 30%, here's someone with 25%, here's someone with 20, and so on. And it will get down to, guys who are stage lean, who are just jacked and very lean. And if you ask women, which body do you prefer? A lot of women will say, I prefer the dad bod, right? Which is a guy who maybe is a little bit in shape, but not very much. And
There's a book called Winning Through Intimidation. I think it's also the same reason that women call all women, oh my God, you're so pretty. Like, women also do just like, they're like very womanly though.
this seems to be something that women pretty consistently say, but, there's a lot of discourse
I'd elaborate on that, but I want to react to the video.
on that. Like, is that true? And so I asked women, I said, why do you like the dad bod? Why do you not like these other
like my wife tells me this. It's so funny. So my wife tells me this. She's like, "Oh, like I just like wish you were like bigger. Like I just like you better when you're bigger." But like she's always staring at photos of me on her phone of when I had 10% body fat. So like
bodies? Because we also see that these other bodies do emerge in female fantasies. For example, the covers of romance novels, which, is kind of the erotic material consumed by women. Those are not dad bods. Those are usually someone who looks like a fitness model. You see, Chippendale's dancers. You see, for example, the calendars with the sexy firemen. Anytime women consume kind of a visual erotic material, even if it's very light, it tends to be someone who actually is kind of jacked and all that. And the men are described the same way within those novels. They don't tend to be described as a dad bod. They tend to be described as someone who is tall and, kind of lean. He's got abs and that sort of a thing. So I asked women, why do you like this dad
yeah, like women are obsessed with muscles.
bod? And a lot of it was like, the bodybuilder, he comes across as narcissistic. He would make.
I will say this though, like you can still get a lot of women even if you have a dad bod, but there are also certain types of women I'd say that are just like they just want dudes with muscles because there is just preference.
Make me insecure. He might cheat on me. So there's kind of a lot going into that. That it's like, do women prefer these dad bods? Perhaps because they signal some kind of comfort. They're not as threatening to women. And even the idea of a man who's more muscular.
I think it's more that they want to get the dude who has the six pack and then get him to have the dad bod so that he won't leave her or cheat on her. Not that you do that anyway necessarily, but they want that security. They want to like feel like they own you.
And larger, evolutionary women have a trade-off in their selection of mates. A strong man who's tall and physically imposing can protect them, but he also represents more of a physical threat to them at the time. So you have a lot of different converging things that might make a lot.
Any man's a physical threat.
A lot of women say, I would prefer the dad bod, someone who makes me feel comfortable in a sense, as opposed to like the really jacked fitness model kind of guy.
When you're saying that women say that they prefer.
Wow. His lighting setup is amazing. Like, just had to react.
The dad bod over the stage lean guy. What about if they're given a much more normal, 10%, 11% body fat guy who has a good amount of muscle mass? What happens to the skew?
10% body fat's like decently
lean. If you get rid of the extreme.
10% body fat is the lowest body fat percentage that you could maintain long term without hormonal problems.
Sort of bodybuilder body, do you know?
Well, it's very rare that women, if they see the extreme bodybuilder, they very rarely seem to say like that's it. It tends to be more of the leaner kind of fitness model, but still
always the dude who fights,
much more muscular than the average man. But still, in that case, they tend to say, I don't want that. I want kind of the fluffier guy.
What sort of body fat do you think they end up settling on? Can you remember?
I would think it would be between 20 and 15.
Wow. All of the guys on a permacut. You don't need to do it anymore. Just cheesecake yourself into a new relationship with a hottie. Yeah, I remember one of my friends who's been through all manner of different fitness pursuits
and weightlifting. On that, like As long as you like got the outline of abs, you're good, and like you're not like bloated and stuff. But
lifting, he's done powerlifting, he's done bodybuilding, he did fitness modeling. Good looking kid. And his ex-girlfriend, who he's no longer with anymore, perhaps this is a contributing reason why, once said to him as he was prepping for a show and sort of dialing in his body and getting down to be super lean, she said, I've never been happier with you than when you were powerlifting. And for anybody that knows what powerlifters look like, they're in that sort of 15 to probably maybe even.
that's true. My wife does tell me also. She says though that she likes me just like big. She's like big, strong, big muscles. Like women just like to feel small and protected.
25%, as you get up toward the super heavies, they're fluffy. They're a fluffy bunch. And yet she said that she'd never been happier than when that was the body type that he presented with. And I think, a concern about intrasexual competition.
I think women like it, but they like it when you do it for a time and then you get fit again. If you're just like that, then they're just like
about mate poaching, that must contribute a good chunk of it. Kind of it's not quite the same, but guys that are concerned about their partner posting bikini photos on the internet, a dude in a sufficiently well fitted t-shirt who's walking around at 8% body fat, vascular as hell, and with a good amount of muscle mass, it's not. You can see what's going on here, right? You can make a lot of inferences about what's happening underneath the t-shirt in kind of the same way that a super party hugging dress does for women.
Tonight's dinner, it's going to be great with McCormick.
Exactly, yeah. And something else kind of related to that in the research is individuals who have partners who are more attractive, if they're men or women, they experience more jealousy. So it could be that, if someone is more conventionally attractive, they're going to be getting more attention. Perhaps it evokes more jealousy. They're going to be afraid, like you said, of mate poaching. They're going to be afraid, okay, this person might cheat. And there is some actually indication that for men, but not for women, that men who are a little bit more attractive might commit infidelity a little bit more. They're going to have more sexual partners. So there can be that perception, and it's not maybe perhaps totally inaccurate that, okay, if you get a guy who's very attractive, he's got a great body or something like that, is he going to stay committed to you? Is he more likely to cheat? And that's kind of something that women said, that he seems like he could be narcissistic. He cares too much about his appearance. And, I would worry about him being unfaithful.
Yeah, I've always thought about this, that somebody that's in good condition physically, it says an awful lot about them beyond simply what it's going to feel like to get them naked in bed. If somebody has trained consistently for a decade, so.
The most unfaithful woman I've met, well, 50-50. Some of them are really fat, and some of them are also really bad.
Much about them. That they're probably not a massive degenerate drinker, because it would be very difficult to stick to the protocol if you did that they are reliable, that they can deal with discomfort, that they are able to overcome hard things, that they've got like a pain tolerance, which is kind of sexy, right? Like, a whole litany of different things: discipline, reliability. They've probably got a pretty robust friend group from going to the gym, all that sort of stuff. And that you tell that. But it's kind of a little bit like a hidden signal, because the only people that really know that are other people that also go to the gym. And it's not the first thing they think. The first thing they think is look at the nice shoulders or the good ass or whatever it is that they're looking at. But the people that have spent enough time decoding what this means, and I do think that it probably percolates somewhere in the back of your mind, is that's probably quite a reliable person. But you also end up with a bit of a difficulty on the bodybuilder side. I wonder whether this is part of the allure of CrossFit athletes, that because it's not done specifically for aesthetics, guys are able to get themselves into good condition whilst not seeming like they care overly about that sort of narcissistic side of stuff.
Yeah, that could be, because
there was
that perception as well, that it's kind of a vain behavior, and in that sense almost an unmasculine behavior is what some people said, that it's like you should not care so much about your appearance as a man. Basically, it's almost a feminine.
But if you're jacked from doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu or chopping wood or doing some other thing, then your body has come along as a byproduct of a pursuit that you actually care about. So I remember a while ago, and I got a lot of stick for this,
and there's a reason that's important. The reason that's important is because it's like being really good at math. It's like someone's like, I am a genius mathematician. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. What have you done? They're like, I don't do things. I just solve pointless problems that no one else could solve. And I'm like, well, what's the benefit of solving it? They're like, no benefit. In fact, I have joint problems from sitting down, engaging in this dysfunctional mode of being, i.e., bodybuilding. And it's just pointless. I don't know. Like, get good at math to like send people to space, like Elon Musk or something. Don't like it's the way get fit to like do something real. Like, even if it's just pick up a really heavy rock, like I don't know, just like I'm gonna lift weights so I look like I lift weights. I'm like, I don't, or you could just lift weights so you could kick butt and then also look like you lift weights and be able to kick butt. Be like, no, no, no. But then I don't go up on the stage and stand in front of a bunch of men in my underwear and have them tell me how good I look. I'm like, okay, well, that's a desire you can only get satisfied in bodybuilding.
On the internet, I remember reading a study, a theory that said one of the reasons why women prefer dad bods is this caloric choice idea. So a man that is really good looking and like lean and in good condition, if you give him 1 calorie, there are more avenues open to him outside of his committed relationship and his family to which he could spend that calorie, right? So the resources have more different angles for him to go down because there's going to be other mating opportunities, so on and so forth. Whereas the guy that was the soft, fluffy dad bod would presumably have more doorways of potential infidelity closed to him, which actually means that it was that dad bods are an indication of better dads, was the thought, that he's not going to spend his calorie trying to chase after some 21-year-old because she doesn't care about him. So I thought that was another interesting kind of second order effect of the way that women perceive their.
I do kind of agree. Like it can be like if you have like I don't know though, like your body's your body. Like I just nah, it's all rational. I think it really is all rational.
Current mate's level of potential strain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what you said there,
should be your number one priority. There's no point in time where I've taken care of my body and then done worse in business for it.
dad bods are indicative of better dads. I think that's very insightful and important because, yeah, it is kind of a contrast between long term versus short.
Like being fat and out of shape just makes you look like ineffective at everything, including being a provider, in my opinion.
Short-term mate selection. When people, women have a strong orientation towards long-term.
Like this dude right here, like I just assume that he's not living in his mom's basement because he just looks like he has his stuff together. This could just be his parents' basement. Like you don't know. It's completely, but he looks fit. He looks kind of like he's like presents himself well. So
Very few women have a strong orientation towards short term. So when you see women express their preferences, they're often talking about in the context of who would I date? Who would I like to have a relationship with? Perhaps not as often as, who would I like to have a one night stand with? And maybe that's why we see dad bods selected. If you post those pictures, they'll say, yeah, this is kind of what
I disagree. I think women would be more willing to do the dad bod for the one night stand than the relationship because one night stand is less about perception, how people are going to perceive you. It's more about, I mean, depending on a lot of circumstances.
I would like. They're thinking about long term, but then you maybe see the more ripped, jacked guy appear as a character in female fantasies where it's more sexually oriented because within the context of a fantasy, it's safe. But that doesn't mean that same man would be safe in the context of a real life relationship.
Every single morning for over 3 years now, I've started my day the exact same way, which is with Element in water.
All done. Tune in next time. Subscribe for more great content. This will be uploaded at 6 p.m. and my normal videos will be uploaded